basically silent video. I'm working on a book cover. I stitched together torn up book pages and sewed it onto the back of some packing paper, that light colored packing paper. I painted it black first, then I painted it, I believe, melted chocolate, and then burnt umber on top of that. Now I'm going to try to figure out how to get it on this backing. I know how I'm going to do it, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. If that makes any sense. Cornflakes box, cut to size. This is a special order. I told you all about that. I've taped together with paper tape, which I'm going to use again, on the seams. Where I think the seams are going to be anyway, which are right about there. Top and bottom. Top and bottom. I normally play music when I do this, but copyright stuff. Not that I'm monetized, although I've noticed some. I have noticed some whenever I go back and watch on the big screen to see how the videos look on the TV. I have noticed that I have commercials on my channel, and I am not getting paid for that, so I don't know why they're on there. This is just paper tape from Dollar Tree. Alright, let's see here. I'm doing this, the printed side, because it's definitely not going to show through this. There's too much paint and stuff on that, so it won't show through. Alright. Okay. I use Mod Podge for this. I could use Fabri-Tac, but I have found that I can't smear Fabri-Tac no matter if I use this to mix paint, but I bought a pack of these. You know, it's still hard to smear it because it strings, so I'm just to this. I'm about out of that. Oops, shouldn't have put that there, should I? Over there. Not a good idea. Actually, I'm just going to take this off like this. Just bring this over here with me. Trying not to make a mess. And I made a mess. I have used in the past, especially for cloth, if I'm using a cloth cover, I've used, was it Yes Paste? Stuff's really good, but mine, I didn't use it for so long, it decided to harden up on me. And this is just basically glue. And it helps get the wrinkles in the paper too, which I kind of like. I don't know if this woman's going to like this or not, and I don't care, because she was real picky about what she wanted. She wanted a sewn cover. I did figure out an easier way to do this. So much for the silent video. I'm sure everyone's thinking right now. I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, I did figure out a better way to glue those pieces together instead of trying to glue the book pages together like not glue them together. Instead of trying to sew them together just by holding a torn piece of book paper, I actually used a little bit of glue stick, and just in the very center of each piece, so as not to gum up my sewing machine. But in the very center of each piece, and then I just glued them down on this backing paper here. And then I sewed them like that. And that way, whenever I sewed it, I could roll it up to fit it in my machine. Okay, let's try this over here now. Oops, a little too far out there. I guess I should have put some glue on the box too, but some people have asked me, you know, how do you get your covers on? Pretty simple. And everybody has their own method of putting, you know, gluing paper or even gluing fabric. This is mine. I said, I don't know. I guess you can get too much glue, but when it dries as quickly as Mod Podge does, sometimes I don't think so. Right. Okay. Fudgy. Okay, there we go. Put this down first. Last night I was trying to get done as much as I could get done, and I put the tape on here. No, normally I don't use tape, but I thought, well, I'm always experimenting with how to get the covers attached and to get them to stay attached. Kind of out of frame. And you really do have to keep doing that, because if you don't, it's gonna dry in some places. Right now, at this moment, I'm trying to get the top back on my Mod Podge. Doesn't want to go. Anybody else have that problem? It's like, won't go on straight. There we go. But around the edges, like up in the corners and stuff, if it doesn't adhere really well, I'll just go in with regular glue. I'll just squirt it in there and smear it down. I've been able to craft so much better once I relaxed about it. Yeah. After I realized I'm not perfect and I'm never going to be perfect. And apparently when you're junk journaling or anything like that, perfection is not always a good thing. If you overthink, I think I need a bigger brayer. And this one's all messed up. How do you get the stuff off of your brayer? Anybody? But junk journaling, or even something like this, the only time perfection is really good when you're doing this is when you're sewing the signatures in. It's kind of important that the signatures all be sewn in evenly. Well, let's see what it looks like on the other side. And that's what it looks like, all glued down. Is there a pause? Hang on a second. I think that's a pause. I guess it was a pause. All right. So, yeah, I had to rinse out my brush. That's what I paused that for. But you see how this... Now, I will not do a brayer on this side because of all the stuff that is actually on my brayer. But if I just do this, it will help. But there's going to be air pockets in there where the glue on the... it already dried, and... you know... And sometimes you'll get I'll get glue anyway. I don't know about anybody else, but you just lick your finger and wipe it off. That's the thing about these covers. They're pretty forgiving. Unless you just blatantly tear a hole in them, and then it's like, you know, you want to go throw yourself off a bridge then. I guess it'd be, if you were decorating the cover, it would be not be that tragic if you tore a hole in it, but I don't decorate my covers unless it's mine. These are all naked. But anyway, that's looking pretty good. I coated this with, I did not seal it with Mod Podge on the outside, the paint layers. Like I said, I coated the whole thing with black, just plain old apple barrel black. Apple barrel melted chocolate, apple barrel burnt umber. But I coated it with Collage Podge. Let me get that so you can see what I'm talking about. It's actually a brand. This Collage Podge. It's not as, when it dries, it's not as sticky. It doesn't seem to be as sticky. And that is by Aleene's. So, I don't know. Multiple years ago, I got this on Amazon, and it was like $12 or $13. It was kind of expensive, but when it comes to not being sticky, it sure is worth it. I have tried something called, it looks like decoupage, and somebody said, oh, it doesn't get sticky. You might as well just save your money and buy Mod Podge, because it does get sticky. At least it did with me. Maybe I was using it at the wrong time of the year. I've got a little white spot right there. I licked my finger. I'm going to see if I can get it out. And if you find that you get little pinpoints where there is no color after you've painted, like this, I would just get either, I would probably get my brown, my brown Sharpie, and I would just go in there and I would just like I'm going to do now. Like that. Goes away. That's alcohol marker. I just touched it and rubbed it before it dried. So it wouldn't look like a dot right there. I've done it with black too, because this has some black in it. Alright, let's see here. And that's why I lined with wax paper. There, see? And when that bends, it's going to bend really nice. And like that. Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Need to get a paper towel here. No talk video. No talk video. I cannot keep my mouth shut. Okay, there we go. This is 2 big squares. This is actually like restaurant squares of wax paper that I've taped together with paper tape. Okay. All right, let's see what we've got now. Okay. Let's see what we've got. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just cutting the corners here. Usually do it about like that. And then about like this. Yeah, it's a little uneven. I might cut a little bit off this side. Sometimes it's good though, because if you don't have enough here, it'll have enough there to cover it up like that. I might just leave that the way it is. I just cut very slight angle towards that corner because I'm going to tuck that corner in. Just a real slight angle. Like that. This one's got a big despair. Okay, I'm just gonna cut some of that off right there. This is all just a looky, you know. Some people measure, and I can't measure, because if I measure something, I feel that if I have to change it, then I've made some sort of huge mistake, and I don't want to feel that way. That puts pressure, and you got to relax. Puts pressure. This one's gonna not be that much, but a lot of this is gonna be covered up by the interior cover, which I'm going to use this on the interior cover. I did this last night and I was tired and I tore it way too short, but this is going to be my interior cover. Okay, oh, I've got all this cut. Yippee for me. I'm going to cut a little bit off this end. Just looks a little long. I don't know if I'm even in frame, but just cutting a little bit off. Okay, that looks good. Alright, and this stuff, see, once you get it painted and everything, it's really, it's like leather. And I did not glue the paper. The only glue that was on this paper, when I pieced it together, was what I put right in the center of the pieces. It's not glued down at all. So, see, it's going to separate like this. But honestly, whenever I just put this glue down all over that paper, it seeps through that paper, so it does help a little bit. But it's like, see, it's like leathery. See? Okay. Now, check the corners. Check the corners and the edges. It's gonna bend nice. Bend real nice. Okay. Yeah. And just put the fingernail in there. That was on a stitch, not going to relate to. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I think we're good actually on the adhesive. I don't think anything's really. I'm going to smush it in. What I'm going to do is what I used to do when I was wrapping covers. Well, what I still do when I'm wrapping covers. And there's a front and a back. This is the front, this is the back. And I'm going to go ahead and just put some of this. That's why I put that down along here. Put some of this down. And this is the Dollar Tree stuff, but I'm not really worried about it because it's, I'm going to do one at a time. Because it's, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. I wrote myself a note to tape seams on the cover paper, which sometimes I forget that, and I've noticed sometimes they want to tear. Not every time, but sometimes. Okay. This cover is 11.5 by 8 3/4 fairly certain on the 8 3/4. Yeah, 11 1/2, 8 3/4. The spine is 11 1/2 by 2 1/2. Normally I make them 11 1/2 by 2 3/4, but this lady wanted an extra signature, and even though I cut it by 1/4 inch, it will make it look fuller, and that's what she wanted. She wanted it to look fuller, and I said, okay, well, you know, so she's getting that extra signature. Putting a little bit right there so it'll stick to the edge of that paper. Right there. And then I'm gonna do this. Even though there's tape there, I'll just glue right over the tape too. Run some here. I'm so glad that Fabri-Tac changed their tips. Okay. Wait. I'm not going to tape in the seam of that. I'm not going to tape in that seam. And where it bends, I'm not going to do that because it might stiffen it up too much. Because I still have another layer to go in there. And pull up on it just a little bit to get that tight. Man. Push in the hair, even though it's not glued right there. Like I said, if the glue squishes in there, that's fine. But if I get a big squish of that in there, it's like, ugh. But there's tape in there, so it's gonna go. I mean, it gets hard to do that. Okay. I know that people have seen this forever and a day, but I don't know if you've ever seen it with this type of paper before. I'm gonna cut off little bits of paper that were hanging over. Let's see what my... Oh, 22 minutes. That's a long time. All right. This is a little bit... I want to glue this paper together. I'm going to use my art glitter glue. It's gapping a little bit too much right here for my liking where it's been cut. I'm just going to put some art glitter glue under there. Because if I'm gluing it down, I'm only going to be gluing one layer if it's not together really good. The rest of them wasn't too bad. It was sewn in a lot more places, but this one isn't. That one's pretty good. That was good. Okay, a little bit of art glitter glue in there to hold that together. See, you just gotta think on the go as you're doing it. It's part of the creative thing. See, this was going to go down, and this is going to get covered up, this particular flap. Whoa, I forgot to do that one. Why didn't somebody tell me that? Why didn't you yell it into my ear that I forgot to do this one? Gotta do it off camera now. I forgot to cut that corner. Nothing gets by me, huh? And that would have happened regardless. It would have happened even if I wasn't on camera. I do stupid stuff all the time. Okay. Where's my... probably could be closer, but you know, one of the things that I've noticed that when I'm doing this, one of the hardest things to do is to keep the glue off my hands while I'm tipping that up and rubbing like this, you know, rubbing that. That's one of the hardest things to keep from doing, because I just got it on my, got a ball of this on my hands just then, keeping any sort of glue off my hands. Okay, I need that pulled up. That one needs pulled up a bit. A little bit of glue in there, but I didn't. Okay. Alright. Up and over. Start in the center. And also, the using a sticky tape helps keep it in place while the other glue dries. That's one of the things. I'm going to go ahead and put this down like that. My other cover that I made, my small one that I showed you that was made like this, none of the little threads, I guess they glued down really well, but none of the little threads stuck up. This one, threads are sticking up, and you know, threads are sticking up, and I don't care. Threads are sticking up, and I don't care. And you'll notice that it is starting to bend a little bit. That's because glue, and then that's whenever I stretch it out a little bit. Okay, make sure that's on there before I start fudging around with the other part of it. Okay. Now these, the short sides are a little bit, just a little bit different. The short sides, you gotta fold in a corner. I'm gonna go ahead and glue that up. I glued it. Good thing I can just like tear that. Yeah, I glued that under there. These are the mistakes I make. Thank goodness God invented tweezers. Okay. You're gonna have to take your fingernail or something sharp and you kind of like fold that in just a little bit right there. Just a little bit. Or like me, all my fingernails became brittle with as autumn came in, and I don't have any fingernails to use. So I had to cut off a bunch of my fingernails. Got more glue on my hand just now. And if you're bored, you're probably already gone. It isn't as hard as, you know, I used to think it was. It's just not as hard as it used to be. It's not as hard as I used to think. Of course, I make them all the time. Okay, fold that over. This gets folded over. Everybody does their corners different. Now, I'm going to show you something as soon as I get this glued down good. I'll lift this up and show it to you. I may have to put a little glue under the edge of that. This corner right here. See, when I said I was tucking under, and I didn't want that white. That's another one of those situations where you can go in and just use your marker and just cheat that. Just cheat it. I think these need glued down. Alright, that's the front too. Okay. And I've got glue all over my hand again. This needs glued down, and for that I didn't get glue all the way over. See, oh, I see what it is. It's that one. Okay. It's where that layer. There we go. Yeah. Let's go and do that. I'll come back later and do that with the marker. And then, the thing about bending this before it's all the way dry, like right here, I'm having to bend it to get it in the frame, otherwise I wouldn't be bending it right now. But it wants to, if it's not dry all the way, these want to bubble up away from the glue. But I can always come back and squirt some glue in there. And art glitter glue, I don't know what it is about that stuff, but I didn't think it was any big deal at first, and I think I even publicly said I don't know what the big deal about art glitter glue is. But I do know, I know now. It's extremely sticky. I don't know, it's almost like it's watered down, but boy is it sticky. Oops, I glued that one down too. Oops. Let's see if I can get it out from under there. The glue's not completely set yet. I'm almost done putting this part on. Get a fingernail in there, kind of pre-do that one. If you want, maybe I'll do another video of me putting the inside in it today, because I will be putting the inside in it today because I want to get this done. Bailey's coming over tomorrow night. I'm going to pick her up at school, and she's going to come spend the night with me. So I won't be doing this Saturday. I kind of wanted to get it done.